Hello, I'm Richard Malczyk, and I'm one of the consultants at RandDTax. And I'm chatting to Stuart Wili, founder and MD of Agri Samplers Limited, a high-tech startup that's recently benefited from our Giving Back program. Hi, Stuart. How are you?
I'm good, Richard. Yourself?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Stuart, can you give us an overview of Agri Samplers? Tell us a little bit about what the business does and how you're funding the business.
Agri Samplers was set up a couple of years ago to manufacture high-tech sampling and sensing equipment for agriculture and the environment. And we've developed some very high-tech sampling equipment that monitors for pathogens in fields, and then alerts the farmer directly through 4G Wi-Fi, and this uses DNA recognition technology that's done out in the field autonomously. We also work with several other worldwide research stations building sampling networks and other hubs to sample and inform people of what is in the air.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting. Can you tell us a bit about the nature of the research and development work that you've done?
Well, the nature of the research and development work we've done is manifold. We've got obviously the mechanical to automate a manual lab system using pipettes and standard laboratory equipment into an autonomous machine. And then we've also then got on top of that the chemical side with the reagents and the DNA, PCR and LAMP assays that we've used. We've had to research all of that as well. And so it's quite a few different levels. And the other partners in the projects we're working on have helped with that information.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a real mix of science and technology that's going on. Now, you've recently done an R&D tax credit with us. Do you think you could have made the right judgments for your R&D claim without advice?
I've done R&D tax credits previously with accountants at the end of a year, and the result is always disappointing, as accountants don't always understand the full scope of tax credits and how they function and what is allowable and what is not allowable. And I think I've had some much better results and advice from R&D tax credits.
That's really great. Were you happy with the outcome of your R&D claim?
Yes, I was actually quite surprised how big it was. It did surprise me how much could come back from the judgments that I've had before from accountants, which have been so poor.
Yeah, and how long did it take?
The process actually didn't take that long. The main hold up in the whole process system was myself collating the numbers and the data that R&D tax credits required. And then again, once they'd done their work, it had to be approved by my accountants, which they took an inordinate amount of time just to tick a box and say that they were okay and hand them forward to the to HMRC. So the main holdups was myself and the accountants. Otherwise, the process was relatively straightforward.
That's great. And how has the experience of claiming tax credit impacted your plans for the future? I mean, will claims play a part of future funding decisions?
They will. They've obviously you've got to pre-fund it, so you've got to find the money to do the project work first, and that either has to be found through an Innovate UK type grant or another or privately funded. even the Innovate grants have to be funded to a percentage to start with, but it does, by the time you get your tax credits back and one or two other bits, the funding almost funds itself.
That's superb. So finally, how likely are you to recommend RandDTax to others?
I would have no issue with recommending R&D tax credits to anyone else who are in the same situation as myself, doing, you know, a lot of Innovate. And as a startup company, every piece of equipment that I've manufactured had to be R&D'd. So there was a very great scope for R&D tax credits to work with.
That's superb, and thanks ever so much for our conversation, Stuart. It's probably a great place to end, and I'm looking forward to working with you on the next one.
Thank you, Richard.